We touched on this earlier, but Man United allowed 1.72 XG to Luton Town. The most confusing thing about Man United is
I hate them so much.
They are in an unreal run of form right now.
They're so bad.
And not good at football. So
I can't.
Please explain to me
I can't.
how Man United is winning matches but also sucks at the same time.
I can't explain it to you other than this is what they did with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and nobody wanted to believe it then. You do not understand. Like, almost all of my friends are Manchester United fans, and they were so in love with Ole. I was like, are you watching? Like, all you're doing is just like Rashford scoring on breaks. Like, you can't win that way consistently.
So
and dude, the 2 goals they scored against Luton were 2 of the luckiest goals. My friends are trying to convince me Højlund purposely chested that in. It slammed him in the face.
Like, I mean, Højlund's also in unreal form. He scored 6.
He's great. By the way, he's great. I think that was a great signing, and I stood by that from the second they signed him. That's the right signing. It's okay to overpay for 20-year-old strikers who are extremely physically gifted, who are excellent finishers. That's okay to overpay for.
Can I read you the company that he just joined? So Rasmus Højlund.
He's like the youngest player to score in 7
Man United
matches.
players to score in 6 matches in a row include Cantona,
Ruud van
Ronaldo,
Nistelrooy.
and Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Yeah.
And now Højlund is in that category.
He will be great.
It's just hysterical.
I think he will be great.
I mean, they just suck.
Here's the issue.
And they're winning. All right.
Casemiro is the worst player in the Premier League. The worst player in the Premier League, bar none. Bar none.
Is Man United in the top 4 race? Yes or no?
You have to consider them in it. Yes, I don't think they will get it. If I were to list the 3 teams that are in the top...
It's the exact same answer you gave me for the Arsenal.
What?
They're in it but won't win.
Yeah, that's my take.
If you stamp that they won't win it, then they're not in it.
I believe it'll be Tottenham, United, Villa.
Really? I just don't see how this...
You see, I told you, there's Emery thing in Villa. Like, it doesn't last.
Okay, but you want to talk... We always talk regression to the mean with Arsenal scoring goals. There has to be regression to the mean with how Man United is playing and the results that they're getting.
I 100% agree there will be regression to the mean. I have very low expectations for Villa and Tottenham as well for the rest of the season. Okay. I think that the gap between 3rd and 4th is going to continue to explode. Right now it's 8 points. Yeah. It may end up at 16 points.
Okay, so we both agree Man United sucks.
They're terrible.
Okay.
The difference is, and this is what's been bailing them out for the last 5 years, is that when they miss on signings, they're missing on $80 or $100 million signings. Yeah. Those players are going to have good moments.
Of course.
Like, Casemiro is the worst player in the Premier League, but he will have good matches. Like, Højlund was $75 million, so, like, yes, he started slow, but he was eventually going to start scoring goals. Like, Anthony's terrible, and I think he's awful. But he still finds a way to score. I mean, I don't know if he will.
He doesn't, but Garnacho is actually playing well.
Garnacho is so overrated. I hate Manchester United.
No, he's actually playing. No, I hate Manchester United too because it's so ridiculous that they're putting together. Like, how are they producing points?
Did you see that video of Rashford with the pressing Barkley in the 94th minute? The team is a disaster, and honest to God, I hope they get top 4 because I don't mean Ten Hag will stay. Like, this is the problem.
You think Ten Hag's on the hot seat?
How can he not be? If they don't get top 4 and they've spent,
they're not getting top 4. Okay. Nothing about these performances show me that they're getting top 4.
They shouldn't be in top 8, dude. Fucking Brentford in 14th play better football than them. They're
Brighton
fucking
is
awful.
Like 10 times better than them.
Wolves are better than them.
Probably.
Wolves are so fucking good. I would love to do an episode just on Wolves. I think they're so fucking good. I love Gary O'Neill. I think he's incredible. Wolves are fantastic. Gary O'Neill, that's his name. Although Bournemouth are also kind of flying, Bournemouth should never have let him go. He is a fantastic manager. I love his demeanor and his mentality. I think he's superb.
So the one thing I want to discuss is people are starting to question Ange now based off of one loss. And we actually haven't been playing great recently. We've just been scraping together results, which is sometimes what you need, but you'd like to see us playing better, similar to how we were earlier in the season. There's people that are calling for Ange's head as if we're not in halfway through a complete rebuild. People are sleeping on we lost our club captain and goalkeeper, Lloris, among so many other players, and obviously Harry Kane, arguably the best ever player to play for Tottenham. Like, we are 4 months into an entire rebuild, and people are already asking for his head as if we're not in the top 4 race. And it's just inherently people's need to blame someone when things aren't going well. Like, I've just taken the stance of, like, we're in the middle of a rebuild. It was never going to be perfect. We're in a little bit of a rough patch, which is naturally going to happen. But people are like, people are posting videos like, the good days with Conte. But being serious, we were in literal hell with Conte, and now people are asking for him back. So my question to you is, when Arsenal wasn't playing well, who are they blaming?
Arteta, always.
They are.
I mean, honest
people are
to God,
so fucking stupid.
honest to God, like, I am not going to be sitting here giving Tottenham credit all the time, but, like, you're in a rebuild 100%. Like,
100%.
and is not the problem. You have a squad that needs complete overhaul still. Like, you still have,
the overhaul is
Correct.
Needed overhaul.
But you're still 6-7 players who need to leave, and 6-7 players, 8-9 players who need to, like, here's the thing with Arsenal's, people are very impatient because they were like, okay, you need to sell all 7 of these players next window and get 7 new players in. That's not how it works. It's going to be, you're going to lose 2 or 3 players a window. You're going to bring 2 or 3 in. It's going to take you're probably 4 windows away from really being happy with your squad, and that's fine.
I think we're a little closer than that. And just actually done it at such a fast level. We've gotten out so many, much
players,
dead weight.
What players need to be gone in the next few years in order for you to challenge for a title? Højbjerg
need to be gone.
Højbjerg, Davies.
Skip. Davies is honestly,
no.
As our 4th choice left back, center back option, he's fine. The problem is he's our backup left back right now.
The problem is the players that have been there for this long, who are this old, who have the Tottenham mentality. This is what the genius of the Arsenal rebuild was, getting rid of all of the old blood who was poisoning the brains of the new players. That's like fair. That's like Aubameyang. Everyone was very confused. Like, Aubameyang's your only good scorer. How can you let him go midway through a season? You're fighting for top 4 because he was late to training. Yeah. Because he was joking around constantly. Arteta doesn't fuck with that. And if Ange's a serious manager, that's the steps you need to take. That's the issues Ten Hag is having as well.
Davies is a questionable one because he's our 4th choice center back and a left-footed
Your other issue is, like...
But outside of Skip, Højbjerg, I mean, Brian Hill needs to go, but like he seems like super committed to like wanting to be in the squad, even though he's not going to be.
Even Lo Celso. Like, these players aren't bad, but it's not about their skill necessarily. It's about an overhaul of a squad and bringing in players.
And a mentality. No, yes. I completely agree. We agree that we're in a rebuild, and people's impatience is so frustrating because it looks a little bit more grim now, but I still fully believe we're going to get top 4.
I mean, it's going to be a fight.
Yeah, it'll be a fight. But if you would have told me we would have sold Kane and then gotten top 4 this year and started to build an actual identity that you can obviously clearly see, it's not fully there yet. And also, people were so quick to react. Ange with his system, with pulling the fullbacks in, like, it's arguably 2 of the most important players in his system. And both Porro and Udogie, who have been 2 of our top 5 best players this entire season, were both not playing. So you have Emerson Royale and Ben Davies playing 2 of the most important positions in the entire lineup, and people are ready to throw them to the wolves. Like, the impatience is
First of all, hysterious. It's just hysterical how you've changed the level now. Like, it was, we're 100% finishing 3rd. Now it's like, I think we'll finish top 4.
I mean, and you have to be realistic.
The fact that we're even fighting for top 4 is a miracle. I'm just saying.
You thought you were in the title race a month ago. That I took top 4 for granted, but that wasn't pushing aside the fact that it was still extremely impressive that we were in the top 4.
No, and this is honestly like, it's funny to hear you say these things because, like, as someone who went through this rebuild with Arsenal, I 100% agree. Like, everyone, and you said this even 6 weeks ago, everyone's like, oh, Arteta needs certain players for the system, whatever, but that is truly important to a good manager. Is you are implying a specific tactic, and so therefore you need a specific profile. Even if there's a world-class right back on the market, he may not be the right back. There might be a world-class striker on the market. He may not be the right striker. Like, that, to me, is the signs of a good manager. You're not just willing to go out and get any player that fills that role. You're looking for a specific set of physical and technical skills that work in the squad. And that doesn't necessarily work with every player, and that's fine. It's
insane to me that even Arsenal, where they are now, that people choose to blame Arteta when things aren't going well.
People are always going to blame the manager. That's just... I mean, when it was dark days for me for a couple years on Twitter when it was like me and I had 2 other buddies who were being like, Arteta's not the problem. And everybody else was like, Arteta out. You're a fucking not an Arsenal fan if you don't want Arteta out. Yeah. I'm like... Who are you going to go get? You're going to go be like Tottenham, get Mourinho and Conte and have a disaster?
Right, disaster.
Like,
people who are asking for Conte back, I think, like, chose to block out how poor those memories were.
Well, it's like, and it's also, not everything's an extreme. Like, I have a buddy who's like,
Right. It can be okay.
Because like
that
Ange is
things-
a better manager than Conte. Like that's not how you say it. Like Ange is right now a better fit for Tottenham, but obviously Antonio Conte is one of the great managers of the last 20 years. Like things can be two things.
I think that's the problem with modern media is everything needs to be
correct.
so
Everything's a take.
It can be okay that we're going through a month of a rough period when we're getting players back from international tournaments and injury, and like it's okay that it's not okay in the grand scheme of things. Like if you look in a vacuum, like losing to Wolves at home as Tottenham is not okay, but like it's okay that we're in a little bit of a dip in form.
Again, like it's the same thing as the discourse when Arsenal lost a few matches in a row, like
In the winter period.
right.
Yeah.
It's just gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like
It's a long season.
Why do you think it's so?
Man City's even struggled
Why
this
do you
year.
think it's so fucking crazy that Arsenal went undefeated in the Premier? Like
insane.
Everyone's like, oh, well, you had 12 draws. We didn't lose a match in the Premier League for a season. We went 49 matches unbeaten in the Premier League. Like that is a record that will never be touched. It's literally unimaginable. Yeah. It's literally unimaginable. Like as I was saying with the Arsenal conversation earlier too, like you could be the most dominant you've ever been, and if one bounce goes the wrong way, like think about the Arsenal-Liverpool match from 2 weeks ago. Like we dominated that match and still gave up a goal because the ball clipped off of Gabriel's hand and went in the back of the net. Like, not only was it an unlucky play that, like, Saliba kind of misread it and Raya didn't come pick it up, but then the ball also had to clip Gabriel's hand and go in the goal.
Yeah, that's all I had for Tottenham because I just think it's so ridiculous how people are overreacting in the middle of one of the biggest rebuilds. Like, you could argue that this was a bigger rebuild with everything going on than when Bale left.
Well, it's just football's a very different place because back then it was like Bale left, you have all this money, and at that point, that kind of money was totally different. You could literally buy 7 players, which we did, and they all sucked. And you just rushed to the market. Whereas now, like, it doesn't, selling something for $120 million, you could buy 1 player.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's why I think it's harder.
Right,
like,
it is harder.
We've done really
like you had to
good
spend
business.
$55 million on Brendan Johnson.
Yeah, we've done really good business, and we're lucky that we have. But if we missed a couple of our transfers, like if Van de Ven didn't end up being one of the best center backs in the Premier League, which he is, like it could be very.
Are you ready to admit that he's better than Romero?
Van de Ven?
Yeah.
He might be the best center back in the Premier League. But all right, that's all I have for Tottenham.
He's like top 7, but he's very.
No, he's not top 7. No, he's actually top 1.
Okay, we're not doing that.